Welcome to Love Bytes, the show where we debug romance. Now, I am not a doctor. I am not a psychiatrist.
I am not a patient.
I don't have a degree in sociology or psychology, but what I do have is wealth of experience and a sincere desire to help you. Because sometimes love can get messy. And sometimes, if you're not careful, love bites. Why, hello everybody, and welcome to Love Bytes. How are you guys all doing today? Our guest, as you can see here, is none other than Fuzzy Freaks from the stream.
Sorry, I was distracted by the awful intro. Also, can you shut the window because loud things are occurring? Yeah, sorry. Hi. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Fuzzy Freaks is a member of our Shenanigans cast and a streamer, so you probably are all familiar with her and her works. But in case you're not, Fuzzy, do you want to introduce yourself for a moment?
Yes, hi, I'm Fuzzy Freaks. I am a variety streamer, and I am completely unqualified to give any kind of relationship advice because I'm dating a troll, which means I'm obviously just make the worst decisions relationship-wise ever, so... Yeah.
Fantastic. So if you guys are not familiar with Love Bytes or what it is that we do here, Love Bytes is a special level of hell for me personally, mostly because of that intro. But it's a show where we take your questions on the matters of the heart and we try and solve them. So if you have any questions that are so desperate that you would want my advice on them or Fuzzy Freak's advice on them, this is the place to come for it. You want to send an email to koibu@regalgoblins.com with the subject line Love Bytes or something like that if you have any questions, and we'll try and get to them today. If we don't get them today, well, next week we will have Ryan doing Love Bytes in character as either Georg or as Friar Morton Bixby, neither of which would be fantastic love advice, but great for the show.
Yes. I decided not to do it in character because the only character I have that actually has any kind of sexual or relationship experience is probably a kobold. And yeah, I tend to get really lightheaded if I do the kobold voice for more than 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So, and also really great because she's like, oh, hi, how are you? Oh, yeah. Which is, yeah.
Yeah. That's, okay.
An hour of that is no.
Yeah. So, why don't we start right now, and we'll take a break halfway through the show, and then we'll come back and wrap it up. So, let's start with question number 1. Dear Koibu, my husband and I have really different work schedules, and it's hard, and it's having a negative impact on our relationship. Actually, our relationship is great, and we don't have any problems with each other, but it's hard finding relaxing downtime together. We don't wake up or go to bed at the same time, so there isn't a lot of space or intimacy. How can we make this better without having one of us leave our job? Thanks a lot for your advice. Well, Fuzzy, why don't you start for this one?
Well, probably the best bet would be to try and schedule some sort of regular date time or something, I guess, like a date night maybe, just make sort of like, set a time when you both have spare time and just be like, right, today we're not going to do anything else. We're just going to hang out and chill and go and do something or, bang or whatever, It's sex hour right now,
Yeah, maybe not
it's
exactly scheduling sex. That can be maybe a little depressing. Like, my alarm comes off. Oh, shit, it's sex time. Okay.
Right, come on, legs akimbo, let's go, baby.
Yeah.
But, it's, it's just, you have to actually, they're just going to have to basically go, right, we need to look at our schedules and go, right, when do we have, like, a few hours to just chill out, go and watch film, just go and have a coffee somewhere, just curl up on the sofa and watch a film.
I kind of have a similar issue with my schedule because I don't start work until noon, so I often sleep in till 10, but my wife gets up early, and sometimes I go to bed after her. So I have a similar issue, but not quite as bad as this sounds.
Yeah.
But I like to have my day off. My Monday off is like Monday, and if she's free, then we just have the whole day together. And if she's got other plans, then I get a day to myself, which is nice too. So I think having like a date night is great, but also having like taking whole days as well. Like a weekly date night was great. We tend to do things on Friday nights and then have a day on Monday or every other Monday.
Yeah. I tend not to not take an. When was the last time I actually took an entire day off? When was the last time I took a day off, like a whole day?
1990.
Yeah, I'm not good at taking days off, so yeah.
Work yourself to death. Well, I think that's about it for that question. So that was pretty simple. Okay.
Hope it helped.
New question here. I really like this girl, but I can't ask her out. I have tried to talk to her before, but whenever I do, it usually comes out as, hello. What do I do?
Shyness is always a bitch because you're just there like, "Ugh!" And the more you think about it, the more you overthink it, the harder it gets. Man, I don't know. It's like you just got to go for it. Really, you just got to. What's the worst that could happen? Is she'll be like, maybe be a bit weirded out by it. You just no, not right, no. I suppose just go fuck it and just go up to her and go, hi, how are you? Or if find something that you both have in common that you can talk about. It's like making conversation is, it's a difficult one, man.
Yeah, that's one of those.
Especially with such little context. It's like, do you have any common interests? You
can find, there's got to be common ground somewhere. And I know.
Even just talking about the weather. God, it's hot today, isn't it? Yeah.
There's a reason we develop small talk. It's to make things easy. If you're in school and you share some classes, hey, just like find a reason that she's the closest person to you, and you can be like, did you get the homework assignment for last night? And then you breach that ground. And then maybe another day you say, I had a question about this problem. And if, she's doing well.
As well, find something unique about her appearance and you compliment her on it. Like if she has like a good hairdo, you'd be like, hey, I like your hair, I like what you're doing with your hair kind of thing. If she's, sort of like interesting piece of jewelry, be like, nice necklace, just not any kind of like, oh my God, I love that. But just like, hey, nice necklace.
Yeah. If she has a lumpy nose, be like, I like the way your nose kind of bulges out to the side. It's great.
But just stuff like that. It's little things. Just find something interesting and unique about her appearance and be like, hey, I like that. But just don't be all like, I love your hair. It's so, that's a bit, just be like.
Yeah, it's a nice way to start talking. And then she'll say something like, oh, it's great. I had it dyed yesterday. And then you can be like, oh, wow, the color's so vibrant. No wonder.
Yeah.
And then she says, yeah, it's great. And then you probably run into the, oh my God, I don't know what to say to her anymore. But then you just end the conversation. It's okay. You don't have to like win the whole prize. Not to objectify women as prizes, but you know what I mean. The whole objective here.
You don't have to achieve the entire mission in one go. You can approach it because now you've talked to her once. So then you can sort of just be like, oh, hi, how are you? Because you've talked to her once and that's gotten down the initial high barrier. So then you just, hey, how are you? And then, find something else to talk about and just have little chit chats and gradually build up and maybe you'll discover she's a massive arsehole and you don't have to worry about it anyway.
Yeah, but it's nice to kind of to pace these things too, because I mean, if someone just came up to you and started really like hammering in on you and asking you a lot of questions, having a big conversation, it's a little much. But if someone comes up and says, oh, you know what, I really like the way that your glasses, Neil, I'm like, oh, thanks, that was nice. But then they go off to their seat, and I'm like, okay, that was cool. And then, a couple days later, it's like, oh, hey, did you get the homework question? No, I didn't. Did you get it? Okay, well, and then like a week later, it's like, oh, hey, I had a problem with this question on the homework. What did your answer get? Oh, okay, here we go. Now you just like, little by little, you just slowly start talking and crawl your way into their life until you can't be gotten rid of. Yeah.
Yeah, that works. That works.
Maybe a little less creepy version, but same principle.
Yeah.
Don't
be creepy. Do not be creepy.
Yeah, don't be creepy. Next question. Hey guys, My best friend has turned into a total slut burger. She's like starting to annoy me because every week I have to hear her complain about the newest 28-year-old boyfriend, she's 18, who doesn't want to marry her even though she knows they're just using her for sex. How do I set her up with someone more appropriate? Net me.
You're not going to be able to.
Yeah, that's on her.
Yeah, basically she's just doing her thing right now. There's nothing you can do to change or control her behavior. You can say, I am concerned, but you are within your rights to say, I am concerned that you are maybe not doing the best thing for you, because these guys appear to be jerks who don't give a shit about you, and you should, find somebody who gives a shit. But you're not going to be able to be like, you should stop doing that because you're a slut, because that's just going to be like, she's going to be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
So yeah, just, if you give a shit, then, come at it from the concerned friend perspective. But even then, it's her life and her body, and she's going to do what she wants with it.
Yeah. Sometimes our friends piss us off. Sometimes our friends annoy us. Sometimes our friends break our hearts, and we want to change it, but it is not our position in this world to do it. So the best thing you can do is be friends and just continue to be friends. You're not going to be able to...
back off, be there if she, needs you, but you're not going to be able to do anything about this, because she's a grown-ass woman, pretty much.
Yep. So, that's that. On to the next question. Wow, we're going through them quickly today. Hey, Neil and guests.
Setting the world to rights.
Quick question. How do I know that my girlfriend likes me or just wants to be friends? I would personally really like to be with her. Okay, so I think girlfriend here has a space between it. So how do I know that my female acquaintance likes me or if she just wants to be friends? I would personally really like to be with her.
You could ask her?
You could ask her. You could go for the tried and true hanging out together, just the two of you, and then you plant a quick kiss on her cheek. That's the sort of all in, no backing out. It's cute. It gets the attention, but it doesn't overplay it. You're not like, it's like
don't go
cheek.
for the full-on tongue down throat unless you're sure.
Yeah.
Because that's a good way to get sexual assault charges pressed against you.
Yeah.
Or kicked in the nuts. Or both. So yeah.
So you can go all in. You can do that. Or you can, I don't know, have a conversation, like Fuzzy says.
Yeah, just be like, yo, I really like you. I would very much like to date you. How do you feel about this? If not, I will back off. And then if they say no, you actually back off and take no for an answer. That's the important bit. It's you don't go, oh, well, if I keep persisting, she'll obviously change her mind, because 9 times out of 10.
Yep.
So yeah, you either go for broke or,
Similarly, if someone does approach you with this method and asks you, please give them an upfront response. The wafting, oh, maybe, I don't know, I need to think about it, need to think is legit. But then if you kind of try and protect their feelings and be like, I don't want to hurt them, so I'm going to come down gently. No. Don't gently.
A lot of times with this as well, women tend to be afraid of men's reactions to things. So a lot of times the reaction is like, is he going to be pissed off if I say no?
Yeah.
Sort of thing. There is that level of sort of so it's
But men have a lot of hope, an unnecessary amount of hope. Really, I think it's what drives us in this world is hope against desperate odds.
Oh yeah.
And you kind of need to break us spiritually and emotionally if you want us to not follow after you. Men are really persistent about these things, at least the ones I know. So if someone does approach you and you don't want to be with them, break their heart. It's better in the long run. No, you don't agree?
I can, like I said, it's women are kind of trained not to, though. We're sort of there's this huge cultural thing where women are okay, don't upset the man.
Well,
just so it's hard to break that cultural conditioning and just be like, no.
It is a it is something that is slowly becoming a thing of the past. But
Oh yeah, we're sort of like, things are progressing nicely.
yeah.
So but yeah, it is,
be direct, guys. Be direct, girls.
Yep.
And good luck. I know how terrifying it can be when you're actually trying to ask somebody out and you don't know how it's going to go.
Yes. It's fucking horrible.
It's a stressful thing that I am so happy to have behind me for the rest of my life. So nice. Love not having to ask people out. All right, next question, and dear God, is it a long one? We might even need to have an intermission and a cup of tea partway through this one. Hey, Neil and guest. When I was 17, I met my friend's daughter. She was 14 years old. Let's call her Carla. Me and Carla both had an early developing interest in anime and nerdy stuff, and got along quite well with one another. After staying together for a weekend with our mothers and a few more people, I did something I would have never done before in my entire life. I asked her out through Skype, and she said yes. Okay. We went to see a movie together, and a week later we went to a zoo to hang out together. And from what I remember, we had a good time. From what I remember. We had our first French kiss of our lives there. It was awkward, but still pretty awesome. Now to the embarrassing part. After the second date, I got several days of radio silence. I was a little too attached, and I wrote her an email where I described my feelings and wrote that I think I love her. After your second date, dude?
And she's 14.
And she's 14, and you're 17. Ooh. I do remember the email was a bit longer than that, but I have done a very good job at forgetting most of the content of that email because I would probably die of embarrassment. Well, at least you know the right way to feel. I know it wasn't love and that I was simply too emotional and hormone-driven, but I didn't know then. A few days later, she sent me a message saying she's breaking up with me because I'm too old for her, which I don't think was the reason. After that, I haven't heard from her for a very long time. Very is in all caps. The way I look at it, at the time I was a huge nerd, I had little social life, I didn't keep good care of myself and my looks, and I had some illusions, having experienced little of the dating and relationships. Fast forward to the present day. 4 years and several months later, which is something like an eternity in my age. I've recently turned 22 and I'm studying a university. Have been in a few short relationships which don't end up working for one reason or another. I also got turned down a few times, no big deal. I can confidently say that my value on the sexual market has risen, and I'm fairly confident in myself.
The sexual market.
Wow, I wish that was like...
Not quite right yet.
No, but I like the concept of, well, my sexual prowess is right here, and it's on this market, and I could sell it for this much, and, well, okay, my labor skills are worth this much. Like an actual market where you could value your skills against other people would be amusing.
I just like the idea of, like, walking along squeezing dongs and breasts and things and just going, that'll do, yeah. That's where my mind went. A literal sexual market. Box, 10 a penny, yeah.
All right. She is to turn 19 in a couple of months. Ever since that event described above, I have seen her a couple times. A mother are close friends after all. We sometimes message one another on Facebook, and I've taught her math a couple of times, but we never hung out outside of that. A short while ago, she asked me if I could teach her some math. She is soon to graduate after all. She arrived at 5 p.m. and we studied, chatted, and had in general good time until 9 p.m., at which point she was almost falling asleep. The weather being very unfriendly, and her home being at least 1 hour of travel through public transit away, I offered her to sleep over at what used to be my sister's room, but we were home alone. The next morning we had breakfast together, chatting about random stuff, and then studied some more, and then played some computer games until 7 p.m. when she went home. Nothing really happened between us, and I haven't noticed her showing any signs of being attracted to me, but I can be pretty oblivious. However, I can definitely say we are close friends now. After 1 day of hanging out and playing video games and teaching math? On to the question. I feel a strong urge to ask her out again. I'm not afraid of being turned down. I've gotten over that a long time ago, but I am afraid of our friendship getting weird no matter what she would say. Almost as if as soon as the weirdness from our relationship evaporated, I would reintroduce it. I think that we are very compatible as human beings, and I can imagine spending a lot of time together with her, but right now I doubt my ability to think straight, and I'm afraid to make any move. Right now my strategy is to chat with her on Facebook and see what happens, but honestly I'm lost. Like I braggered a pathfinding check. Thanks for any advice you and the host can give me. Sincerely, love can't bite me. Woo! All right. Well, I think you have to make a judgment here, a value judgment. Do you value her friendship or her potential romance more?
Good point, yeah.
You know, because let's take the worst of both situations. You don't ask her out, but she is into you, and the two of you remain friends. Now, compare that worst case scenario with you decide that you value her friendship more, and you do ask her out, she's not into you, and you go, and she splits up and you go separate ways. So, on one hand, you like her, but you don't ask her out because you value the friendship, and then you guys are just like friends forever, and there's a little tension. Or you try to ask her out, and it totally tanks, and you guys are no longer friends, and it's really awkward, and her mother looks at you funny now. So you gotta take the two extremes. Which one do you want to avoid the most, and then compare it to which one do you want the most of relationship with her or friendship with her. Because if a relationship with a friendship with her is 7 out of 10, it's awesome. We love being friends. It's great. And a relationship with her is probably going to be 8.5, maybe even 9 out of 10. That's awesome. But losing her from asking her out and failing would be a 1. And being friends with her without being a relationship would be a 6. Well, then you've got a 7-6 over here and a 9-1 over here, and you average the two, and looks like being friends is probably a better investment for your emotions. Speaking of the sexual market,
that was very numerical, and I glazed over. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it's. I'd say to hang out a few more times and see how you go before making any decisions, sort of thing, as well, because you're still both fairly young, and
Yeah, I mean, 1822. Is that what it is? Is it 1922? 19 and 22. You guys are kids. You ain't seen nothing yet. But at the same time, I think I was 23 when I met my wife and we were just dating. And she was turning 21. She was 20 at the time.
You cradle snatch it. No,
Yeah. So a 3-year age difference isn't that big of a deal.
I'm 3 years older than Bob, so
Yeah.
But the older you get, the less the age gap matters. So at that age, it's a fairly big gap, and the older you get, the less it matters at all. So the 3-year age gap was massive when it was 17, 14, and then but I'd say one day of hanging out and a bit of talking on Facebook is I'd say it requires a bit more talking and
just to derail slightly, I have a source that says you're actually 10 years apart.
No, that's Bo being weird in chat. No, he's 3 years. Wait, hang on. How old are you?
25.
Shut up. Fuck off.
74?
Do you even know how old you are?
No.
Yeah, so I'm 3 years older than Bo. Fuzzy confirmed for Cougar. Not quite. Give it a few years yet.
Sorry,
But,
what were you saying before I so rudely interrupted?
I can't remember now. I know this one's such a long, complicated question. It's hard to give an answer, really.
Yeah.
It's if you want an answer, just give the details and bullet point, motherfucker. Bullet point would be useful here.
So to recap, when he was 17 and she was 14, they dated a little bit, but he was super creepy.
Overly attached boyfriend.
Yeah. Now they're chilling and they're sort of friends, and he wants to date again.
I'd say work on the friendship a bit more before approaching the dating.
Definitely.
Definitely.
You need a few more dates in there before you can try and approach that properly. Also, I just sometimes
Hang out
a
and see
friendship
what
is more
happens.
valuable than a relationship. Sometimes it's just really, really nice to have a female friend who is just a friend. I have a few of them. They're mostly my wife's friends, which makes it way easier to start that relationship from the get-go. But, like, having female friends that are just friends is really, really nice. It is like
I was saying, I have a fair number of like male friends who are just friends who sort of like I am their female friend kind of thing. So it's like it is good because it's good.
You got to make that choice because there are going to be a lot of people that you can be in love with over your life. There's no one person for you, right? You can fall in love with and be happily ever after with any number of people.
What's the Tim Minchin song? If I didn't have you, someone else would do.
Wow, that is harsh, but right.
It's about his wife as well. It's great. Look it up. If I didn't, Tim Minchin, he's great. He's Australian. He's a comedy songwriter sort of performance. Yeah, it's great.
If I didn't have you, someone else would do.
Yeah, Tim Minchin.
Yeah.
M-I-N.
Oh, he's the scary-looking guy.
Yeah, the ginger guy with the backcombed hair and things. In the
yeah, he looks fucking creepy.
I think it's deliberate, it's a deliberate stage
Well,
choice.
then he's very successful at being creepy.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's very funny as well, so.
Anyway, my advice is lay off. You're going to want to value that long-term childhood friend a lot more down the road. It's... how many friends do you have from when you were 19 that are still around in your life?
19?
Yeah.
None. But I move around a lot and I left home and
right, but I've got one that I hang out with, and then like a few others that are friends by proxy, and if we run into each other, we're friendly, but we don't ever do anything together.
I literally haven't seen any. I haven't seen anybody from my childhood for many, many years.
Yeah.
I think I met my ex when I was 19, but yeah.
So
wouldn't call him a friend.
I say hold on to the friendship. It's more valuable than you will imagine, especially down the road as you age. That shit's important. Let's do one more before we take our halftime break. Let's archive that question. Dear Neil, I am single and in my 20s and have a lot of trouble meeting people and having relationships. Like many people in my position, I've decided to turn to online dating. There's a lot of discussion about whether dating online is good or not, and it seems to work well for some people but not for others. But rather than asking if online dating is right for me, I'd like to hear if you have any advice on how to make online dating successful in big caps. Is there something that differentiates the good and bad online dating stories you hear besides just inherent personality differences? Ooh, good question.
I have only really ever dabbled my toes in online dating. Like, I was just starting to look at online dating when I met Bo. So I personally do not have any real experience apart from a couple of abortive conversations. But I have one friend who met her husband through online dating. And basically she just went on dates and, she kissed a few frogs sort of metaphorically before she found her prince. But she just basically, you just got to keep an open mind and communicate well, keep an open mind. And, just talk, communicate, be honest. And run a mile if they're insane.
So it doesn't specify whether this person's male or female. Well, I think there's different approaches here because from what I've heard, girls tend to get kind of like a lot of correspondence going their way, and from my
tits or GTFO.
Yeah, and on the other side, guys can send out a lot of messages and get no responses.
Yeah, I have absolutely no experience from the males. Did you ever do any online dating?
No.
You never did online dating, did you?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Did you actually date anybody?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Avoid the ones who are avoid the crazies because they might try and run you down in a car.
Yes.
At 3 o'clock in the morning.
Ooh. That sounds
After,
terrifying.
after deciding they want to marry you after one meeting.
Well, I have had a little experience with online dating as well, which was a mixed bag of nuts, being like, hi, blah, 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 blah. Crickets, 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 crickets. Or like, actually, one of the people that I ended up going out with was one of my former dance students who I did not remember because I was teaching classes of like 100 plus. And then in a different city, sent a message, and later she's like, yeah, do you remember me? I was one of your students at UCSB. And I was like, oh, no. And it turned out not to be working at all, but it was a mess. It was an awkward, uncomfortable area.
I will say, from the messages I received, a nice friendly message is much more likely to get a response than just, hi, how are you? Yeah, don't just go, hi, or something. It's just, ask them a question, actually try and make interesting conversation rather than just go hi, because the hi is just like, oh, whatever. It's whereas something that engages their interest is a much better tactic.
Like what would get your interest, for example?
Well, for instance, like if I put my, like, I don't know, role playing, whatever, in my hobbies, like an actual, oh, you like computer games, cool, what computer games do you like? Or sort of like, what is your favorite game series, or something like that. Just ask something relevant that's not dumb, because somebody was like, oh, do you play Xbox? I was like, no, I said PC. Scum, get away. Yeah. I'm really judgmental about the PC versus console thing. So yeah, I literally decided not to message somebody because they were like, do you like Xbox? I'm like, no. Awful.
Well,
yeah.
that's very applicable to our conversation here.
Anyway, yeah. But just read their profile and try and pick something that what you're talking about, and don't just pull something random out your ass and go, do you like this? But just go, I see you're interested in XYZ. I am also interested in XYZ. What do you think about XYZ related to XYZ? It's just find something to talk about, even if it's a fairly blatant conversation starter. At least it's something
Yeah, something topical. And again, like with the not the previous question, but a couple questions ago, you don't have to hit it out of the park on the first chat. I think it is meeting people online is still a little awkward. Basically, you just need to demonstrate
that you are sane and not probably a stalker and have something of a brain in your head.
And it's nice to have a couple of chats with someone online before you actually meet up in person.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The whole like, how high are you? How are things going? Here, talk about this thing for like 10 minutes and then say, want to go get coffee? It's like maybe a little bit early. You want to have multiple rounds of conversation over a period of time. And I think that changes what that period of time is, changes for each person. But I just, as a ballpark, I would say 3 rounds of conversation over the course of 2 weeks, and then it's comfortable to ask someone out. That's a ballpark number, which you don't have to stick to by any means.
Maybe they'll ask you if you want to go for coffee. You never know.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not always on the dude to make the first move.
Oh yeah, ladies, we love it when you make the first move. Seriously,
I am all about making the first move. I'm, So yes.
All right. We're going to take a bit of a break here, and we're going to come back with the remainder of the questions that we have. If you guys have any questions, please send them in to koivu@regalgoblins.com. And while we're at our break, you can go check out the Love Bytes t-shirts we have for sale on teespring.com/love-bytes. See you guys in a few minutes.
Sell out moments. Yay! Yeah.